Okay, so the audio works. I just don't know if we can. Oh, there you go. All right, now you can.
Thank you. Okay, good evening, parents. I would like to welcome you to our Harlan Community Academy 9th through 11th grade on track parent meeting. My name is Miss Lillian Grimes, and I am the 9th and 10th grade counselor. Miss LaShonda Lewis, who had a family emergency and is not able to be in attendance with us this evening, is the 11th and 12th grade counselor. And so this meeting is designed to have a check-in with parents. We have just recently ended our semester one. Our freshman students have just earned their first set of credits on their high school transcript, and we want to check in with all grade level parents just to provide information about their students on track status and how they can work with us to support their students in tracking academic progress over the 4 years. So our first slide is what is on track. So what we have been talking to students about recently, last week we had our semester one town hall. So all the information that is being shared with you on today was shared with students in our grade level town halls. So being on track is a student that is considered on track for graduation once they have earned all of their credit and non-credit bearing graduation requirements each school year. So every semester, which is about 20 weeks of the school year, students earn credits in the classes that they are enrolled in. And so at the end of each semester, a student is able to earn 3.5 credits for semester one, and then an additional 3.5 credits at the end of semester two. So every school year, a student can earn a total of 7 credits each school year that will allow them to have 24 credits at the end of their senior year, which are the graduation requirements for CPS. In addition to credit requirements, there are also non-credit bearing requirements, which means there are requirements that students have to satisfy, but they do not allow a student to earn credit. And some of those requirements we will discuss a little bit later. But the non-credit bearing and the credit bearing graduation requirements are all needed to be satisfied for a student to be considered on track. So on track status by grade level. So for 9th grade, at the end of semester one, a student should earn a total of 3.5 credits. The same for semester two. The non-credit bearing requirement will be health and a service learning project, which will give the student 7 total credits and 2 non-credit bearing requirements. For grade 10, the credit attainment is the same for semester one and semester two, which will allow the students to satisfy an additional 7 credits for the school year. And for non-credit bearing, a student must complete driver's education, U.S. Constitution. For grade 11, the same credit attainment, 3.5 credits each semester for an additional 7 credits for the school year. And the non-credit bearing requirements are financial education, civics, service learning project, the state mandated SAT exam, and a student should have 21 total credits at the end of 11th grade. For 12th grade, an additional 3.5 credits for semester one and semester two. For non-credit bearing requirements, students must complete the financial aid application, and they also have to have a concrete post-secondary plan, which is also known as LPS. And a student can end the senior year with 28 credits. So these are our goals for our students in grades 9 through 12. And just to kind of give a little insight, CPS came up with a new initiative about 3 to 4 years ago called LPS, which is Learn, Plan, Succeed. And so every student, before they can leave a Chicago public school, high school, has to have a concrete post-secondary plan. So there are 5 pathways that students can choose from, one of them being college, one of them being military, one of them being job training, one of them being employment, and then one of them being a gap year program. And so when any student is a senior in a Chicago public school, they have to identify one of those pathways at the end of their, well, in the middle of their senior year. They have to state what that pathway will be. And before they can meet the graduation requirements, they have to provide evidence that they are going to seek one of those post-secondary pathways. So part of that is the reason behind the financial aid application, because those students that are seeking the college pathway will be required to complete that financial aid application to assist in having funding to help you as parents pay for school. Now, some parents may ask the question, what if my child is not planning to go to school? And so we do realize and understand that not every student will choose college as their pathway after high school, but the financial aid application is a requirement for all students, whether college is their pathway or not. So for 12th grade parents, we know that you have been working with Ms. Lewis to get that done. But for students in grades 9 through 11, we just want to make parents aware that this is something on the horizon that they will be required to do in grade 12, and they are not able to complete the financial aid application without your assistance. So we are asking for your support for yourself and your student to ensure that we can do what we need to do on our end to ensure those students are able to satisfy that requirement. So ideally, we expect every student to earn all of the credits that they are enrolled in during a school year. But we do realize that in some instances, there are some students who may not, for whatever reason, be successful in a class. So we are encouraging credit recovery. And what we want to promote is that for every student that fails a class in a particular semester, that following semester, the student seeks credit recovery options. Because what we do know is that if you don't take advantage of the credit recovery option as soon as you fail the class, if for some reason you fail multiple classes, it just overwhelms the student and makes it that much more difficult for them to recover the classes to ensure that they can maintain their on-track status and graduate in the year of anticipation. So if a student has failed a class during semester 1, which just ended December 22nd, then the expectation is the student will enroll in Saturday school or night school during semester 2, which is the semester that we are currently in. There is a $25 fee, registration fee for the credit recovery class, and that $25 needs to be paid to the school. Ideally, we would like for you to pay the fee prior to the start of classes, but if for whatever reason you're unable to, we are able to debt the $25 to your student school fee, and then prior to graduation, that fee must be paid in order for a student to be able to participate in any senior activities and to receive their official transcripts as well as their high school diploma. So we have credit recovery that will be beginning actually February 1st, which is tomorrow. We are offering some classes here at the school. And then there is an opportunity for students to attend Saturday school if attending school in the evening is not an option. We are promoting students to attend night school just because Saturday school is a very long day. Students would be enrolled in class from 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And then another disadvantage is that Saturday school is not offered here at Harlan. So it would require a student to go to a school site that they may not be familiar with. But for the night school option, we are offering night school courses here. The courses are being offered on Monday and Wednesday night. For Monday and Wednesday, I believe it is science and English. And then I think Tuesday and Thursday is math and history. So students have received information regarding that and have been logged in, registered, I should say, for those classes. But we do want to make parents aware that those classes will meet. Typically, a student could go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday if they need more than one class. But if there is only a need for one class, it would be offered on Monday and Wednesday, or Tuesday and Thursday, and the classes would meet at 4:30 p.m. until 7 o'clock. And so we do realize that that is a long day for students, but there is a mandatory 60-hour seat hour requirement for students to be eligible to earn credit. And so those classes would need to meet approximately 2.5 hours each day to ensure that the student had enough seat time to earn their class credit. So we talked a little bit about non-credit bearing graduation requirements. And just as a reminder, those graduation requirements are requirements that do not yield or provide a student any course credit. Typically, these non-credit bearing graduation requirements are attached to another class. So for example, in 9th grade, a student is required to satisfy health and service learning project 2. So the health requirement is offered in their freshman level gym class. So while a student is receiving a class credit for gym, the health unit that is offered within that class would only be a pass-fail status. And so that pass or fail would be identified on the student's transcript. The same is for the service learning project 2. All service learning projects are classroom integrated projects, and so those projects are attached to a class. So at this particular time, teachers identify if they are going to offer a service learning project in class. That information is shared with the student and what the requirements are. The students work on the project in the classroom with their classmates and classroom teacher. And then if they successfully satisfy the requirements for the service learning project, the teacher issues the P for pass, and then that service learning requirement is added to the student's transcript. For 10th grade, driver's education and U.S. Constitution. So the driver's education requirement is offered in sophomore level gym class, or ROTC. And then for U.S. Constitution, typically all sophomore students, in some instances, juniors and seniors. But whenever a student is enrolled in the U.S. history class, then that is when the U.S. Constitution is offered to the student. So although the student will get a credit for U.S. Constitution, there is a pass and fail. Although the student will get credit for U.S. history, there is a pass or fail requirement for U.S. Constitution. And so I do want to say that a student can earn credit in the U.S. history class and still not earn the Constitution non-credit bearing requirement. And so then that student would need to follow up with the classroom teacher to retest until they are able to successfully satisfy that U.S. Constitution requirement. And then in some instances where a student may have slipped through the hole, as the counselor, it is our responsibility to track those transcripts and see what is missing. And then we work with the student as well as the teacher to come up with a plan to ensure that those requirements are satisfied. For 11th grade, financial literacy is offered in the civics class or transitional math class. So either one of those classes can satisfy that requirement. Students are also required to take the SAT. So that test is offered to our 11th grade students in the spring, in April. And so on that particular day, only the junior students report to school, and they are required to take the SAT. Civics Service Learning Project is offered in the civics class. So it's the same as the U.S. Constitution. A student can earn civics credit, but there's also a service learning project attached, which is a pass or fail situation. For 12th grade, students are required to complete the financial aid application. Originally, the application opened up in October. This school year, they kind of revamped the application, and so we had a late start, and the application didn't open until late December. But during the senior year, the financial aid application is a very important task that all seniors have to complete, as well as working on other post-secondary tasks through their SchoolLink, which is done in school with their school counselor to ensure that they are working to ensure they have a post-secondary plan. So attendance matters. We have a school-wide expectation that all of our students maintain a 90% or higher attendance rate. So our current attendance data is at 78.71%. Our ninth grade students are currently at 76%. 10th graders are in the lead with 82%. 11th graders, 76%. And then our 12th graders are at 77%. So we just want to, ask you parents to work in partnership with us to ensure that you're getting your student to school on time. I know that in some instances parents work and they have to leave home before the students do. But whatever structures that you can put in place to support us in ensuring that students are showing up to school every day on time, and then we will work on our end to support the students in getting to all of their classes during the day. But we definitely do appreciate your support and would like to work in partnership with you to ensure our students are getting to school every single day, so that we can be successful in our school-wide expectations of attendance for our students. So we wanted to share some of our semester 1 data with you. We wanted you to be aware that our Falcons are soaring, and we know that the student success we are seeing would not be possible without the support of our parents. So at the beginning of the year, we set some goals for ourselves and some things that we wanted to see around student success in our building. And so one of our goals was around semester grade point averages. And so the goal that we set at the beginning of the school year was that 30% of our students would end the semester with 3.0 or higher. And so we are happy to report that at the end of our first semester, 44% of our students ended the first semester with a 3.0 or higher. And so therefore we exceeded the semester GPA goal. Our freshman on track goal was that 85% of our freshmen complete semester 1 on track. And we are also happy to report that we exceeded that goal. And then 94.6% of our freshman class ended the first semester on track. For sophomore on track, our goal was 80%, and we ended semester 1 with 87.7%, which is another goal that we exceeded. For attendance, we had a goal of 80% of our students being on time to school and present to school, and we ended the semester with 80.02%. So although we did meet that goal, we realized that it was a very close call, and so that is another reason for our push to you all for support in ensuring that those students get here, because we definitely want to ensure that we're maintaining and are able to see this same level of success when we end the school year in June. Excuse me. So our stoplight status, parents, I believe you get copies, and I know that students get copies of our stoplight data. And so our goal was for 80% of our students to end semester one in the blue or green, which means that the students are passing all of their classes. And so we had 83% of our total student population in the first semester in the blue or green. So 83% of our students successfully passed all of their classes at the end of semester one. So that too is another goal that we exceeded. And we are so very happy to share that data with you. And so when you are looking at your child's academic information and you get the weekly information from Dr. Jones, if your student happens to be in these numbers, please make sure that you are acknowledging their hard work and their success, as we are also doing that in the school, because we definitely want students to continue on the trend that they are on. So, post-secondary report handout, which I have here, but it's not doing you guys any good because you're not here in the building. So I will start. I'm sorry. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay. So this particular information, we do realize that we gave you an option to come into the building as well as to stream in live. And we do understand that as working parents and parents of multiple children, sometimes life gets hectic and you are not able to come in person. But for those of you all that are streaming, we do definitely appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to tune in and support your students here at Harlan. So this information, I guess we should maybe email these to you guys or possibly send them into the mail. So this also is information that was shared with your students last week in our town hall meeting. And so with this information is just giving what the post-secondary benchmarks are for students in each grade level. All of the information is tailored specifically to individual students, and it is a way to allow students and parents to track the academic status around what students should be doing for post-secondary and just success in high school, period. So the information shares where your student stands in terms of their grade point average, in terms of their class rank, in terms of the current credits that they have, where they are in terms of these non-credit bearing requirements for each grade level, where their stoplight status was for the first semester, which ended the end of June, what their attendance rate is, and then any behavioral infraction. So if a child was in any type of trouble or had to meet with the dean for any reason, you would be able to see what those infractions are. And then, although we indicated that there was mandatory testing for SAT in April, we do offer practice SAT testing for our 9th and 10th grade students, just so that we can work on our end to prepare them for when they become juniors and they have the actual SAT test. So in the beginning of the school year, in the fall, the students took their first practice SAT, first for 9th grade, and then first of this current school year for 10th and 11th. And so what that information does is gives us a snapshot of where the student would be if they were taking the actual SAT test at the beginning of the school year. And then as a responsibility for us on the school level, then we work with the students around test prep and around some of those areas identified that need improvement, that can help students hopefully improve their score when they take the test again in the springtime. So there will be another practice test in the spring for 9th and 10th graders, and then the actual exam for juniors will be in April. And so this particular information, if you're not familiar with the SAT, this is the standardized test that colleges use to measure academic success. And then different colleges and universities have different requirements for their admissions. And so they look at these scores, and those scores are used to help colleges make a decision about granting admission into their institutions for different students. So this information we will likely scan this information and email it to you. It is called a post-secondary report. If you want to just kind of jot that down, and then we will share emails at the end of the presentation. And so if you have any questions about anything, you can reach out. You can reach out via email. So post-secondary pathways, we did mention Learn, Plan, Succeed. And so those 5 pathways that were mentioned earlier are a work in progress of things that we are doing in the school. So we are currently working on a document and trying to identify different post-secondary experiences that we can offer students on each grade level to prepare them. So ideally, in your senior year, you should know what your pathway is, but in order for you to be prepared to actually seek the pathway, that planning and awareness needs to happen in the 9th grade. And so what we are seeking to do now is have students identify their tentative pathways when they enter into our building, and then work to provide opportunities around each of those areas for students to experience, to help them make a clear and educated decision once they get to their senior year. So, okay, I'm sorry. So listed here on this screen are the email addresses for myself, Ms. Grimes, who is the 9th and 10th grade counselor, as well as Ms. Lewis, who is the 11th and 12th grade counselor. And so any questions that you have around information shared this evening, or any additional clarity that you may need, please feel free to reach out to either one of us based off your child's grade level, and then we will be able to follow up with you to answer any questions or concerns that you may have, and provide any additional support that you may need to ensure that we are supporting your student. Are we able to see the chat? Or no? No. Okay. So okay. So I apologize. So yes, please, if you have any questions or concerns, please make sure that you email myself or Ms. Lewis. I do want to thank you again for taking the time this evening to stream live with us for the presentation. I hope that you found it enlightening, and I hope that there was some good information that you were able to take away from it. Again, we will make sure that we get you all these post-secondary reports because the information is very useful, and it can definitely be used to guide conversations at home with your students around what they are doing at school or what they may need to do at school. And then it can also be used as a reference when you reach out to your child's counselor, and we can use this document to guide the discussions about what we need to do. So I thank you, and I hope you all enjoy your evening. Oh. Oh.